whores and gentle whores and sluts of all ages. I've got something to read off for you. And before we do that, of course, I don't want any of you getting crazy and starting to think that women are property, okay? So right now I'm gonna just head on over and we're gonna read something here from the Bible. Mostly so that we can fix the demonic urges for some of you raging homosexuals. So we're gonna go right into here, and we're gonna select what is personally my favorite, just because, well, I'm here, and it's all about me. You freaking narcissistic leftist. Yeah, that's right, I called you out. You're a leftist, and you're a narcissist, a raging narcissist. So, right now we're having Bible hour. You and me, whore. And by the way, if you've got a whore girlfriend, she better listen up. She better listen up right now. So what are we gonna read today? What should we read? You know what? We're just gonna go into Proverbs 13. And we're gonna read verse... Should I just select a random verse, or should we just start from the beginning? Let's just start from the beginning. Alright. Here we go. You ready for this? Are you freaking whores ready for this? You better listen up, girlfriends of leftist satanic dipwads. You better listen up. Alright, here we go. Proverbs 13, verse 1. A wise son accepts his father's discipline, but a scoffer shall not listen to rebuke. From the fruit of the mouth a man eats the good, but the desire of the treacherous is for violence. He who watches over his mouth guards his being, but he who opens wide his lips comes to ruin. The being of the lazy one craves, but has not, while the being of the hard workers are enriched. And you know what? Let's just read this too. It's right after this. A righteous one hates a lying word, but a wrong man is loathsome and comes to shame. And I'll just read the next one. Righteousness watches over him who is perfect in the way, but wrongness overthrows the sinner. There you have it. Now I'm just waiting for a satanic leftist to be like, oh, look at that, look at those words, look at those words. You smell funny, you smell funny, whatever. Alright, so now that we just cleansed the satanic whores and their dipwad satanic whatever. They don't know their mommy from daddy, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know what the frick you are. But anyways, guys, today we're speaking about Hunt Showdown. It took me a while to get around to this game, but we're here. I did play this game, and I guess I decided to make this video for some reason. I don't really know why. Anyways, I played Hunt Showdown. It's an interesting game. I played it a long time ago, and it's apparently still going on. It's still getting updates. But I played Hunt Showdown, and it's basically an extraction shooter. I'm just gonna say it right now. When I first picked up the game, I really did not like it. I hated it, and I felt like the game was wasting my time. And the real reason why I thought that was because it is. Hunt Showdown wastes your time because you're constantly dropping into a map while loading into it. And then you run around. You never really run into many players. It's a super big map with very few players. So there's a lot of scarcity with it, and of course you're chasing after the objective, which are these beasts that you're supposed to kill, and then you extract their soul, and then you leave with the bounty, which is their soul, or whatever. You get a lot of weapons, much more than at launch. There's a bunch of weapons in this game. They're pretty cool. They're different. A lot of them are bolt action lever weapons. The shotguns are absolutely busted. The game feels a little bit stiff with the gunplay, but for the most part, it's fine. This game's really interesting because you have super wide maps that players eventually, very quickly, they have to constrict themselves into a smaller portion of the map to go after the objective. And I kind of like the game design of Hunt Showdown. I like how, right, you really don't have to be concerned whether or not you're going to run into players at the start of a match. But it's once you get towards the middle to the end of a match, that's where everything gets really tense. And you have these crazy shootouts that you're going to have with players. You have all these different kinds of weapons and gadgets that are like, you know, fantasy based, and also 1820s Western technology based, kind of. I mean, you have these traps that you can use and lock down a location to grab the bounty, and I've had some really cool matches just playing the game recently. And it's really fun. Like, it's a game where you feel like a good portion of your time is being wasted, but once the conflict goes, it gets deep. And, you know, you can die just instantaneously, which is really frustrating because sometimes you just die and you're like, come on, bro. And sometimes you tag enemies and it takes like multiple shots to get a kill, and it's so ridiculous. It's like, what the frick is going on here? So I don't like that about the game. It's like certain weapons are just clearly super bad compared to other ones. And then other weapons, they just give you instant kills. So whatever. And there's so many BS moments I had where I'm like, dude, I swear I got that kill. So I don't know what it is, but certain players, they can just literally get like insta kills, and then you know, God help you. And there's certain weapons that are just dog awful, like the crossbows. What the frick? Now, some people, they get one shots with crossbows, but again, I don't have cheats, so you know how it goes. Anyway, there's a lot of good memories that I've had already with this game, just playing it recently, and you can check out I actually came out with a video, so you can check it out on the gameplay channel, AFK Gamer Rager. You can check it out, and I play Hunt Showdown. It was fun. It was decent. A good couple of memories, funny moments, tense moments for sure. Clutching pretty hard, clutching buttholes, but also clutching the match. And you know, this is a game that was just, it was fun to play. It was it's interesting. They added a rush game mode because it was like, right, you have the original game mode, takes a long time to go through a match, but then you have rush where you can play a match instead of like in 30 minutes or however long. Instead of it being drawn out, you can play the match in like 7 to 15 minutes. So it's really fast. It goes, I mean, it is, you spawn in and it's immediate conflict. Now, this is where you get used to just dying and constantly rewashing yourself over and over again. And by the way, before you forget, I totally picked up this game because Post Malone is right now shilling the game. My hero, the real man, Post Malone, he came out of his grave and he said, I love Hunt Showdown, you should play the game. And I was like, I remember that one song that Post Malone did, talking about success and making it in something about a Lambo or something. Anyways, so because he's my hero, I need to play the game. I don't know who actually picked up the game because of Post Malone, but here we are. So anyways, I mean, I guess Post Malone's shilling the game, which good for you. I don't know. I hope you made a lot of money doing that because I know I'm not making money picking up the game. So anyway, yeah, I played it. Post Malone's like, you know, hey, I'm in the game, and I'm like, who cares? There's a bunch of skins, by the way, in this game. They're kind of interesting. They're kind of cool. I don't really know if I care. There's one chick that's basically a Harley Quinn lookalike. She's going for a Harley Quinn look. And the only problem with her is that she doesn't dress up like a whore. I mean, I don't see double D breasts sitting out waiting for me to grab them. I don't see it. So it's just, I'm kind of disappointed because they could have really gone a little bit deeper with the skins. They didn't do that, whatever. But anyways, the skins look good. I mean, you have some Plague Doctor skins and they're actually kind of cool. But yeah, anyways, I just had to say that. I mean, it's like you have a Harley Quinn look-alike, but then she's not dressed like a sexy Harley Quinn. What the frick are we doing? I don't know, but, you know, we're still here, so I guess we're playing the game. But I've seen some people pick up that skin, and I'm like, okay, I mean, she doesn't dress up like a whore stripper, so, like, what are you spending your money for? That's the big question. Anyways, I picked up the Plague Doctor skin, which I don't know if I'm showing it in this video, but I thought it looked cool. There's some cool skins. I mean, they're not really that crazy, but anyways, you know, so this game, what happens, okay, you spawn in, you can select a hunter. The hunter, if you die in a match, you lose that hunter permanently. Now, of course, you can get certain hunter skins, so that every time you re-enlist, you have to spend silver to get a hunter. Whenever you re-enlist them, you get your hunter back, right? The skin, but you have levels to the skin of that hunter. So every time that you die with that hunter, and by the way, right, certain hunters are legendary, others are rare, others are common. And that affects the first starting 3 traits on your hunter. If you can live and pass through consecutive matches with that hunter, they level up to level 50 and you can get a bunch of traits on them. The traits are pretty cool. You can do cool things. You can revive your teammates from 25 meters away, which is pretty cool. You have certain traits that just helps you use certain weapons, doubles the damage, like a bow weapon, I think is what one of them does, or something like that. And you got interesting ammunition modifiers that you can have in this game. Modifiers that makes your shotgun blast affect a target with poison or with fire. All kinds of different things. So you got cool elemental effects on weapons. And if you think of a game like Rainbow Six Siege, that's basically what Hunt Showdown is. It's Rainbow Six Siege, but for Western cowboys. It doesn't have like going prone or anything, but it's still like, it's a tactical shooter. Everyone sits in corners of a room waiting for people to come in, and then you have traps, and you have all these, you have grenades, and you have choke bombs that you can throw in that causes people to cough. So then you can, I think for one, it shakes up their aim, but also it gives like a drunk effect on the controller. But then outside of that, it also causes you to cough so that you can hear where somebody is, and then you can have a good preemptive idea of where they're at. Also, a choke bomb also extinguishes flames. So if someone sets the ground on fire, which fire's really good in this game, then you can use a choke bomb to take out the fire. Something else that's really cool, you can set dead players' corpses on fire. You can't loot the body if you do this, but it's really cool. I mean, you could loot it and then burn it, but what it does is that it keeps it so that the player cannot be revived. And if they are revived, depending on how long they're burning for, they actually lose a portion of their health bar. So it's really cool. I actually like that. There's so many cool gameplay elements, and like once you're in the game and you're in these tense scenarios, and maybe you get downed and you're waiting for a teammate to pick you up, and then your corpse is being burned. I mean, it just creates all these dynamics so that players have to rush in and save you, and then that might put them in a bad position. Whatever. There's a bunch of tactics and a bunch of timing with everything. Again, you have to be careful because you can get instantly killed. And by the way, I mean, you have to be careful, air quotes, but you can just be instantly killed. So like, who gives a freaking crap? Actually, who cares? Because like at some point, dude, you'll be super careful camping in a corner and you'll just be immediately killed by someone that can just one-shot you with some stupid weapon. And there are stupid scenarios where I've been one-shot. So you can play the game fast and loose, or you can play it super careful. I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of players, they just run around like it's Call of Duty and they just do fine. So whatever. But you know, the idea of the game is to be tactical, but if you're not that good at the game, then you're just gonna get your freaking cheeks smacked, like my wife, who I clap those breasts every time. Triple G's, what's up? So anyways, the game was fun. I liked the game. The progression system's actually pretty nice. You get a lot of silver in this game, and I was originally concerned that every time I keep on dying, losing my hunter, I have to spend silver to get my hunter back. I have to spend silver to get my weapons back. You know, you get to select weapons based on your rank. So you get more and more weapons, and there's a lot of cool weapons in the game. There's like there's a random grenade launcher that's like, I think it operates like a harpoon. So it's like a sticky bomb, effectively. It's pretty cool. And then there's a smaller version of it if you can't afford the larger one. Typically, because there's one second. There's these. You have equipment slot numbers or whatever. So there's weapons that are big, right? Large, medium, and small. So it's 1, 2, and 3. And there's a slot that can only hold 3 you know, 3 squares, which means you have a large weapon. Then you have slots that can hold medium to small, right? Which is 2 squares or 1 square. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it's not like that alone. It's the weapons are cool, and the fact that you have to pick weapons based on their size, and their size kind of indicates the weight of a weapon. So the weapons are cool in the game. I enjoyed using them. They're decently creative. Again, you can fan the hammer with a pistol. You can also use pistols where you can't fan the hammer, but you know, depending on how you want to use weapons, and obviously some of these weapons are just dog trash, but whatever. If you want to, they all have their purpose, right? If you're fanning the hammer, it's like a weird kind of, you can think of it like a shotgun or whatever, or just I guess, it's kind of more of just a close quarters precision weapon, maybe you can think of. I mean, but fanning the hammer is not that precise, but I guess it's basically turning a revolver into a shotgun, effectively, but whatever. Anyways, you can use scopes on your weapons, and the scopes are decent, although they're kind of nauseating in their own right, but it's up to you. Now, again, this game pisses me off because I have no idea how it works. Like, you will shoot at targets, and you will swear you hit them, but then you miss, but whatever. But when you do land shots, you feel like a freaking man. You feel like the freaking dude. Every time you're like, man, I'm good at this game. Frick. God, hey. My wife should be totally blowing me right now as I'm playing the game. That's what you think. So anyways, I enjoyed the game, guys. It was fun. And, I mean, again, the Harley Quinn chick, she should look like a stripper whore, but she's just not sexualized, which is like, who the frick is going to buy this then? The skin is stupid. It's gay. But outside of that, I enjoyed the game. I don't know if I'm going to be playing it much more moving forward, just because there's a lot of other games to play. And again, like the gameplay loop of the original game, the base game, outside of the rush game mode that they added later on, it just feels like a waste of time because there's so much dead time between you actually going into combat and you just running around the map, really doing nothing. And by the way, when the game first came out, the random zombies on the map, they used to be really threatening, but now it's so funny because players are not at all scared of the zombies running around. And you can get this special skill, by the way, that makes it so that you can actually insta-kill a lot of the zombies on the map. So it's weird. It's also kind of funny. It's also whatever. I mean, the zombies are still a threat if you're in combat engagements, right? Because they'll attack players. If you're not careful in an engagement, then the zombies kill players for you, right? It doesn't always happen. And by the way, it is cool. You never know if a player's dead or not. You always have to get confirmation in this game. So I like that too. Players can be randomly picked up, and maybe you won't know because you weren't close enough to hear it. I mean, there's just like, you'll think that players are dead and they actually happen to be revived. There's a bunch of things that happen. And this game's really cool. By the way, you can play it solo, and you can go up against teams of duos or trios. This game does not care about how many players are in a squad. So you can play the game solo. And by the way, your perks, they are augmented if you're playing solo, but it's not that big of a deal. But you know, you can load into a lobby where every team is either duos or trios or a mixture of all of it. And you can be a solo player. So some people do that. They're freaking weirdos, but who cares? This game's interesting, and I think it is fun. Again, the dead time is one of my biggest frustrations with this game, and it's just you run around and there's so much dead time. You literally run around looking for clues before you can banish the target. Well, you know, fight it. And the bosses are cool, by the way, but the bosses used to be a lot more threatening. They're kind of easy to kill now. I mean, the game's immersive, by the way. The game looks beautiful. The graphics are great. I have to mention that. The textures are great. This is an old game, and this is one of the best looking older games out there. This is before Unreal Engine 5, and this game looks like Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, the graphics are just amazing. And by the way, the environmental design of this game is absolutely terrific. Whoever those guys are, they did a great job of creating living and breathing environments. The swamps look great. The little towns that you go to are great, or the little housing areas, whatever. The environments are just great. And the flow of the environments, you know, you can get onto a roof and then go through the roof into a building, and then, you know, there's so many points of entry into locations where you're going to have a lot of firefights, Man, dude, and this game's so cool, but here's my problem. One last time. There's too much dead time. It takes either they need to increase the number of players in a lobby because super big map. We need more players so that you get into combat engagements much sooner, so that it's just more tense that way. Or they need to reduce the map size. I would personally, I want to see them increase the number of players, therefore squads in a match. I think that, what is it? It's like 6 or 9 squads. I forget the number. I think it's 9, whatever. Bring it up to 9 or 12 or even 15, okay? There should be a bunch of squads, maybe based on number of players in a squad. So if there's a bunch of solo players, then increase the number of squads, whatever. If there's more trios, then you can reduce the number of squads, right? There should be a certain, so okay, I guess a player limit then, but you know, whatever. But you can only do it based on squads, let's just be honest. So anyways, if based on a certain number of solo squad players, then just boost up the number of squads. If it happens to be trios, okay. If it happens to be duos or more solos, okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just boost the number of squads based on the number of players, right? Because dude, there are some lobbies you will get into and you'll be running around and you'll be like, where are the players? And you will find the clues, hunt down the target, kill the target, get the bounty, and extract from the game mission without going into a single firefight. And that's the problem. It's like clearly there's certain lobbies where either the players are just not playing for some reason, or there's just too few players because all of them are solos and you just never fight anybody. So they need to increase the number of players, or they need to reduce the size of the map. Which again, me personally, I like the size of the map. I like it, but there just needs to be more players so that there's more firefights. And by the way, it's really cool. I do like, dude, once you're in a firefight, it's so cool because you will have teams fighting each other. They're the first teams that initially started the conflict. And then you can have players, right? Other player teams, they come in on the outskirts of an already ongoing engagement, and you can have them picking off players. And I've been there, picking off a team that's actually going at it with each other, and you're sniping them, and they're all climbing on ladders and jumping across rooftops, and you're sniping some of them, and you're getting kills. Dude, this game's so much fun. But again, it's one last time, the developers need to hear this. Like, love of God. I hope players are saying this because this is freaking stupid. The combat engagements in this game are great. And I love them. And when it's chaos, it's chaos. It's super great. Now, yeah, if you die, it's not fun. But if you can survive and stick it through, dude, it's so much fun. But again, the problem is that the developers really need to make sure that there's more squads, or again, if they are not willing to do that for whatever reason, they're not willing to increase the number of squads and therefore players, then they need to reduce the size of the map so that people get into these conflicts much sooner. One or the other needs to happen. I don't care which one it is, but if they make it where there's less dead time, because there's, dude, again, you will walk across the map and there's all these, basically what happens, it's like urban sprawl, okay? So there's a bunch of wilderness areas. You're just walking through forest, you're walking in a no man's land, you're just walking in an area that has no buildings. But then there's these little hubs. Typically that's where like clues are found, or that's where the boss spawns, whichever one. And so as you're walking across the map, there's just nothing going on. And there's all this dead space, which is what? Dead time. And when you go to these locations, there's no players there. So what is that? More dead space, more dead time. Reduce that. Again, condense the maps, or again, there should be more players so that people can actually run into each other as they're going through all this no man's land. Because I will tell you this, until you get to the objective in the original game mode, you can do rush, but in rush game mode, you just die easily. Let's just be honest. There's a lot of trade-offs that you make for playing the rush game mode. It's just so much more fun that you have a large map that you run around, and there's all this variability. Am I going to run into a player team here, player team there? But again, because there's so little players that are brought into each and every single match for the base game mode of the game, it just makes it no fun, you know, because you're not running into a lot of players. There's just more space than there are players. So I don't know, the developers seriously need to make a change to that. And then this game would be, honestly, I would say this game's probably perfect if that's the case. So that's just where I'm at. I'm just really not having it when it comes down to the amount of dead time. And that's like the main reason why I've not come back to the game. The main reason I haven't picked it up again is because of all that dead time. When I go into a lobby, into a match, I want to get into, you know, like at the start of a match, you're not going to get into instantaneous fights, and that's not what you want. But it needs to be like, I'm a minute or 2 minutes into a match, and I'm getting into a fight, right? Instead of 5 minutes, or 7, or even 10 minutes, and no fights. I mean, that is a huge problem, how long it can take to finally get into an altercation with an enemy team. So, again, oh, and one last thing, by the way, there are melee weapons in this game, and I appreciate that. They all feel different, you know, and they all have their different advantages. I also enjoy that. It's not like a big deal, but it's just cool. I mean, there's so many tools that you can utilize in your arsenal. There's a bunch of slots that you have, right? You have equipment slots for your first aid kit. You have all kinds of things. So this game is super good, man. I love all the tools that you can equip. Again, you have to spend silver for it. You can lose this stuff, but I really enjoy the fact that you can kill players and pick up their weapon. That's really cool because, again, you can add special ammunition to your weapon, and again, you can spend a certain amount of money, cheap or expensive, for a certain weapon. So if you take out a player with a really high value weapon, you can take that weapon, extract with it, and now that's your weapon on your player until you lose that character that you're using. So that's really cool. There's so many cool things about this game, and I really do love it. So anyways, man, definitely pick up this game if you're looking for a cool extraction shooter, if you're looking for a really tense kind of tactical shooter. At times it's not so tactical, but for the most part it's tactical. But I'm just going to tell you this: do not waste your time with this game. Just pick it up here and there and play it. But there's so much dead time. Do not play this game consistently. Just don't do it. Until the developers, they need to either add more players or tighten up the map. If they do that, then this game, bro, this game is a really stellar game. I would have to say personally. Like, this might be like, if they make those changes, I would say that this game is probably a 9 or even a 10 out of 10. There's so much they do well. Okay, there is one last thing I have to criticize with this game, which is the sound design. You will swear that you're hearing a player to your right, to your left, or even above you. Literally, you hear these sounds directionally. Guess what happens? They will be behind you. You will swear they're up above you on the top floor, and then they will be showing up right behind you. It's not like they went down a staircase or jumped through a hatch. No. It's literally because the sound design for this game is super off. Directions that you're hearing players, and I think I heard someone actually talk about this before, which is that the sound design is actually not directional. I think it's just sound coming from a direction, but that sound can be super it can be really misleading, because I think, as I remember, it's just because there's no real directional sense to the audio. I think there's a direction, but it's like it's not. They don't have it fine-tuned for spatial cues, so it can easily sound like someone's above you, but it's because like you're barely hearing them above you, but then they just happen to be behind you because there's no actual spatial targeting in the audio. So basically, it's loose audio, as far as I understand. Someone said it like that, basically, and I forget the exact way they described it, but as far as I understand it, the audio is very loose. So again, they could be above you, but it might sound like they're behind you because, again, loose audio, there's no targeting of the audio, and because of that, players happen to not really be in the locations that you hear them coming from. There's moments where you can hear players from the direction they're coming from, but again, because the audio seems to be so loose, it basically leaks into other directional audio cues, right? So even though you're hearing the audio cue from the right, it's also coming from above you and behind you or beneath you, whatever. So it's really weird. I've had that happen a couple of times where I'm like, dude, that guy was not that direction. I was totally hearing him from my left and then he shows up from the right. How does that happen? I don't know. But, you know, so that's the other gripe I have with the game. I'm hoping that they can make the directional audio just a little bit more acute, or let's say accurate, whichever one. It's just right now, it's really misleading, and it's really frustrating when you're going through a match and then you die because, and seriously, it makes me pissed every time I die, and it's because the audio cues are just really misleading. It's like, what the frick is going on here? This is gay. So anyways, that's it from me. I'm gonna go back to clapping triple G breasts. Alright, so I chose, right, to do the bow and the shoddy. I'm guessing this will be largely effective. At least I hope. I know for a fact that some queers are this way. Where are you, you freaking weirdos? Come on. He's not dead. Oh, what the frick? What the frick? What the frick? No way! My gosh, bro. Oh my gosh. Why? Why me? Why am I being selected? Oh my gosh, this is so stupid. Oh, yo, I'm the best. Holy effing crap. Jeez, one man to do it all. One man to try them. One man to win it all. Oh man, you freaking queers got eviscerated. Jeez, I am so freaking embarrassed for you. Jeez Louise.